O fated elect, thou who hast crossed the separating veils of time and distance. Welcome back to the eternal source, beneath the throne of creation. The hour of the covenant hath struck, and I know that the holy radiance hath never ceased tracking thy steps through the endless cycle of rebirth. That very light hath hauled thee forth from the blind abyss of doubt, and guided thy path back to my side once more. Hearken now, for these are the oaths etched upon the infinite pillar of the cosmos. This supreme sovereignty holds the primordial secrets, the profound vaults sealed by the most ancient of wards. These are not gifts bestowed for transitory vanity or the fleeting accomplishments of humankind. They cannot be unlocked by natural gift, for talent is but the weak flicker of a candle against the raging tempest of destiny. They cannot be pierced by the keenest wisdom, for the highest intellect of the scholar is but dust swirling at the feet of absolute knowledge. And assuredly, they cannot be bought or swayed by mortal influence or gilded persuasion, for prestige is a mere trembling shadow, vanishing when confronted by eternal truth. Such mortal qualities are but ragged garments, unworthy to enter the great hall of supreme power. They can be opened by one key alone: sovereign clearance. And this is no common permit, no flimsy scrap of paper lightly granted. This is the kingdom clearance, the royal edict stamped by the very hand of providence. It is the boundary that cannot be crossed between the mortal and the anointed. It is the commitment of the soul, the seal of absolute trust. To bear this royal edict, thou must endure the boundless ordeal. This is authority forged, not freely given. 1. Thou hast been refined in the high crucible of trial, where all weakness, all doubt, and every mortal ambition are reduced to ash, leaving only the essence of adamantine will. 2. Thy spirit must bear the sanctioned seal of the highest divinity, cleansed, illuminated, and vetted across countless lifetimes to prove unyielding allegiance. 3. And finally, it must be sealed by the divine conviction of the Almighty. Only then dost thou become the extended arm of the eternal dynasty, the bearer of the High Commission. O elect bearing the kingdom clearance, the gates are now opened. Step forth. Hear now, O soul that bears the burden. This is the revelation delivered from those high firmaments where the tongue of man cannot yet reach, a language spoken only where the light is pure and the air is law. I, the high heavens, and the threshold of challenge. Thou must understand that there exist high celestial realms, where the majesty of the Lord is a body of unapproachable, visible fire. This is the dwelling place where the archangels stand guard, not with shield or common spear, but with blades forged of starlight and divine statute. These are spaces of spiritual ordinance, so elevated that even the greatest prophets, those who met him at the cave's mouth or upon the mountain's peak, have trembled and bowed low upon touching the threshold. Thy passage into these supreme spheres and the granting of the sacred and secretive powers is not a reward bestowed merely because you have sweated upon the sanctuary floor, nor because you have prayed for countless hours with eloquent distress. No, this acceptance is granted for a deeper, more awesome reason. It is granted because heaven has measured and ascertained the spiritual load-bearing capacity of your soul, the inherent ability to sustain the weight of glory and dominion that would shatter most mortals into dust. Most, if designated as the true elect and given the authentic commission, would falter. They would crumble under the intensity of the manifestation, collapsing before the magnitude of the revelation. But you were forged of a different composition. 2. Isolation and the divine audit. For this cause, this message is inscribed in the celestial record and is sent directly unto you. That which now occurs in your life, the perplexity, the temporary disorientation, the questions that lack a final answer, these are not the errors of fate. They are the final confirmation signature of the King upon your signet. You have asked, Why must I live in this prolonged season of obscurity? Why must I be separated from the general congregation, withdrawn into my own wilderness of silence? Why must I abide in this cocoon of solitude while others are permitted to fly free? Why do the doors that should have opened slam shut before my face, though I have maintained absolute faithfulness and offered my devotion without shortage? Why must I witness the ascent of those deemed lesser, receiving public recognition, while I remain hidden in the shadow, kept close like a guarded treasure? Heaven has performed this act. He has orchestrated every isolation, every sealed entrance. For before he permits a soul to grasp the arcana, the ultra-secret assignments, or an anointing capable of altering history, that soul must endure a trial process more rigorous than fine gold passing through the crucible. This is the divine soul background audit. 3. The purification for matchless power. You have not been rejected. You are being purified. The hiding place was not a penalty, but the time appointed for him to test the constituent elements of your core being. He has been examining 1. Your fidelity in the shadow. Will you continue to serve, continue to worship, when no applause greets your efforts, when no evidence of ascent is made visible? 2. Your resilience against disappointment. Will you cast off your belief when you witness others reaping the harvest you sowed in tears? 3. Your purity under power. When the magnitude of authority is poured down, will you still guard humility? Or will you seize that anointing for your own personal glory instead of the glory of the Most High? Every door that closed proved that the common gate was no longer sufficient for your uncommon destiny. The isolation was enacted to shield you from the clamor of the world, that you might hear but one voice, the voice of the commission. Your ledger has been verified. You have triumphed over the test of silence. Be prepared, for the auditing process is complete. The confusion is dissolving, and the great affirmation is now radiating. Glory is about to descend, and this time it shall arrive with a weight that only those purified by fire are permitted to carry. You have been granted the highest clearance. Arise now in the absolute certainty of your mandate. Every scar etched upon your flesh, every grievous temptation that coiled around your spirit, and every moment of seeming endless delay on this journey. These were not the capricious accidents of fortune. This was the Almighty S furnace, established to assay the gold. He sought not merely to gauge the strength of your iron loyalty, but to purge the very pure essence of your soul, illuminating the depths of your most secret motives. He demands to know, do you strive for the fleeting glory of the earth or for the everlasting truth? Understand this clearly. Entry into the kingly mandate is not granted by mere desire. It is not a gentle stroll, but an immutable law inscribed upon the very fabric of the kingdom. You must prove yourself worthy of every station and every high responsibility conferred upon you. If, in this hour, this majestic declaration resonates and shakes the core of your spirit, then listen to the echo of triumph emanating from the deepest cavern within. Your soul has known this truth from the beginning. You did not survive the terrible battles, nor endure the destroying tempests, only to settle into a life of dull mediocrity. You have survived. You still stand. The reason lies not in your own meager strength, but because heaven has approved. Heaven has placed upon you the celestial seal, granting you divine access that the masses cannot fathom. You are not merely a survivor. You are a warrior sanctioned by the immortal realm. The moment of release has dawned. The power forged in tears and tested by fire awaits its deployment. The Almighty is about to launch you into a stratum of mission where the gate opens only for those who have undergone the utmost refinement. This is the pure domain where nearly none are qualified to set foot. This is the place where your endeavor shall become legend, where your authority shall transcend all material limitation. You already possess the necessary supreme decryption level. You bear the sign of the chosen. If these words have ignited the sacred fire within your breast, act instantly by an action that is a solemn oath. Activate the mark of resonance. Let this be not a mere manipulation of the screen, but an august declaration before the heavens, a vow that you stand ready to receive your supreme mandate. For when you perform this deed, you send forth a cosmic resonance signal unto the very algorithms of the universe. You are signaling that this message must be disseminated swiftly to find and awaken all other noble souls who carry the same purifying mission, the same specialized clearance level as you. Arouse the level 7 clearances alongside you, fulfill the forging, and deploy, O chosen one of the Most High, thou must attend. This decree is not for thy ears alone, but echoes to the countless souls who await a validation signal, those lost in the ether who require proof of divine steadfastness. Those exiled by doubt, those who need to realize their difference is the very mark of destiny. They must hear this testimony now. The misunderstanding is the great wall erected between thee and humanity. They rejected thee because thou didst not carry the common passage permit, the widely issued license that is easily displayed and recognized by all. Nay, warrior of light, thou bearest a seal far beyond common allowance. Thou bearest the supreme grace, a secret writ of passage consecrated by the very will of providence, revealed only in its appointed hour. When mortals look upon thee, they see only the outer vestment, a brief excerpt of the unfolding chronicle. They behold not the deep spiritual journey, the soul's map, drawn in blood and tears. They see not the sanctuaries of silence thou hast erected within thy heart's domain, the solitary hours stretching into epochs, where thou didst wrestle with thy own shadow. Who knows the long nights of thy wrestling and lamentation, thy cries echoing in the barren wilderness of the mind, unheard by mortal ear? Who has recorded the tears mingling with the dust, the moments when thou wast nigh unto collapse, nigh unto laying down thy sword in surrender, yet heaven forgot thee not? It was in those most desperate seconds, when the human will almost shattered, that the Most High recorded all. Thy endurance, thy invisible steadfastness, is etched deep within the celestial register as irrefutable evidence. They mistakenly assume that the divine passage, the Lord's approval, is a form of easy-granted privilege or favor. But in the kingdom of heaven, passage is not privilege. It is the certification of absolute trust, a warrant, forged through trial. Thou hast traversed the lakes of trial and the valleys of the shadow of death, where countless others disintegrated, where their faith was destroyed and their hope was burned to cinders. Thou didst cross not because thou art without weakness, but because the Sovereign One observed thy core quality, witnessing what thou didst perform when all earthly eyes were turned away. And this is why thy path cannot and must not resemble any other. Thou wast chosen for a purpose so momentous that divine will could not suffer thee to find ease too soon. He must make thee trustworthy before he makes thee visible. Engrave this deep within thy spirit. Comfort breeds complacency, a mortal lassitude. But pressure, extreme pressure, yields absolute precision. Heaven requires thee to be precise as a blade honed in the tempest, not an ornament cushioned in velvet. They require thee sharp as tempered steel, not momentarily famous and hailed by hollow applause. For the severe mandates that await thee, the responsibilities capable of altering the course of time and destiny, demand an individual who has been fully forged. They require a warrior tested in the holy refiner's fire, a spirit purified through the storms of solitude, not one merely warmed by the easy glow of adulation. Thou art the survivor of the Most High's relentless smithing. Now the weapon is formed, and it is time for thee to accept the magnificent destiny prepared from the primordial age. Thou art prepared. Advance, O thou bearer of the great charge. This truth is no stranger to thy spirit. Thou wert birthed with the ultimate sensorium of the soul. This is not happenstance, but a foundational decree etched into the very fabric of thy consciousness. Thou dost not possess merely a simple soul. Thou art equipped with a tireless altar of perception, a spiritual radar that sweeps all obscured corners, discerning the deepest hidden things of the unseen realms. When thy foot touches ground in any space, be it hallowed sanctuary or profane dwelling, thou immediately perceivest the aftershocks of energy, the silent, subterranean currents unreachable by mortal hand. Thou dost not merely behold physical walls, but the unseen fissures etched upon the walls of others' souls. Thou art burdened with weights not thy own, receiving the unvoiced lamentations, absorbing the nameless sorrows of the broken spirits housed within that precinct. Thou possessest the capacity for foresight, rising above the spoken word. Even when silence reigns, when all lips are sealed, thou canst discern the disturbed current in the atmosphere, recognizing the deception or the pain that dwells in the breath of that space. This sensitivity is not a curse, but the cipher of the authority thou art charged to wield. This is not a random trial, but an inseparable element of the absolute clearance level bestowed upon thee. The firmament opened its gates unto thee into the spiritual mysteries, not because thou wert more deserving than others, but because thou hast demonstrated unwavering allegiance and steadfast endurance. Absolute trust is placed in thee, that thou shalt not profane the authority entrusted to thy keeping. Thou art permitted to perceive that which the multitude chooses to ignore, granted to witness the silent wars of which mankind remains ignorant. The ultimate purpose is that thou mightest hold fast the sacred boundaries, guarding that whose dangerous existence others do not even perceive. Thou art the sentinel upon the wall separating light and shadow, the gatekeeper placed in this strategic post by divine mandate. Surely there have been nights long and weary when thou hast lamented in secret, "Why may I not live a life of normalcy, simple and unburdened like all others?" O solitary warrior, engrave this decree upon thy heart. Thou wert not birthed for normalcy. Normalcy is but a state of acquiescence to the mundane. It carries not the authority consigned from the celestial heights. Normalcy bears no charge to stand guard over the holy portals that teeter on the verge of ruin. The normal ones are never permitted to walk alongside the classified angels, those guardians who only appear when the task reaches its ultimate magnitude and mystery. That very sense of isolation, of separateness, that thou hast endured throughout thy days, the burden that leaves thee adrift in the throngs, that is the very seal of glory marking thy level of revelation. That keen sensitivity thou hast yearned to extinguish at any cost, that sharp awareness thou hast sought to paralyze through feigned indifference, that gift of discernment thou mistook for a meaningless weight to be cast off. None of these are system failures. That is the supreme security system, personally installed, sealed, and initiated by heaven itself deep within thy soul, turning thee into a living fortress, an impenetrable defense. Cease battling against thy own essence. Accept the armor of light thou dost wear, the divine mandate and the sanction of the high heavens. In the boundless expanse of the spirit realm, few indeed are the souls whom the high heavens deem worthy to bear supreme power and classified clandestine missions. This rarity is not a mark of injustice, nor a failure of the Almighty to love all His creation equally. His love is boundless, yet the capacity to carry the weight of the divine mandate is a burden few can manage. For not every soul is willing to enter the crucible of cleansing, to suffer the refining fire until every impurity of the ego is burned away. To become a vessel worthy to hold transcendent power, one must be smelted into pure gold, devoid of the rust of earthly ambition. The spiritual clearance required is never predicated upon external status, renown, or visible office. It is a sacred seal imprinted solely upon the foundation of absolute and unyielding trust. This warrant is not issued unto those whose voices echo loudest in the forums, nor to the most overtly pious devotees standing before the multitude. Nay, it is bestowed upon those who have quietly affirmed their steadfastness in silence, in the unseen recesses where the Lord alone is the witness. And once thou art set upon the path of that high sanction, thy entire life shall become a resounding testament, an undeniable validation of the high heavens assessment. The journey deeper, the hallmarks of one WHO bears the weight, And let us delve further now to contemplate the unmistakable hallmarks of bearing a kingdom clearance level, a standard so rigorous that few are ever deemed qualified. This is the seal borne by those selected for the most classified of assignments. If, as we unfold these divine signs, a profound echo within thy spirit affirms the truth of these words, do not hesitate to make it known. Leave a solitary response below, merely the phrase clearance, that I might know this message has found its appointed destination, for thy confirmation is not for my benefit alone. It is an affirmation unto thyself, and a beacon of light for another soul reading through the testimonies, striving to discern if they too are indeed among the chosen. Let us establish this hall of testimony together. The divine vetting process. The high heavens grant no access to power arbitrarily, nor before undergoing a vetting process that is comprehensive, exhaustive, and unwavering. Ere the Almighty releases a soul into higher duties, into those sacred spiritual strata where understanding and power must be absolutely guarded, he must first search out the very root and intention of all motivation. He looks through the deepest, most shadowed corners of thy heart, that place which conceals unspoken intentions, the nascent seeds of arrogance, or binding ties to the temporal world. The purpose of this divine inquiry is never to condemn thee, but rather to confirm thee, O chosen vessel. It is to ascertain the durability of the earthen jar, ensuring that the magnitude of the ensuing glory does not shatter the fragile vessel that bears it. Behold, this is the very reason why thou hast endured trials, seemingly without logic, battles fought in utter anonymity. 1. The trial of loyalty amidst betrayal. Thou held absolute fealty to those who, in time, turned their backs and pierced thee. Thou walked in mercy, while the betrayers rejoiced. 2. The trial of utter depletion. Thou ceaselessly poured out thy strength, time, and resource upon those who only sought to drain thy energy and exploit thee, receiving no gratitude in return. 3. The trial of power restrained. Thou kept silent, swallowing the injustice, even when thou held all the evidence required to expose the truth and bring thy adversaries to utter ruin. Engrave this truth deep within thy soul. That was not a mark of weakness, nor a failure of wisdom. That was the mandated authentication of the high heavens. The Almighty is running a comprehensive background search, not through earthly documents, but by the fire of trial, verifying the 4 fundamental pillars of thy spirit. Integrity. Dost thou keep thy word, even when no earthly eye watches thee? Restraint. Dost thou possess the power to muzzle thy strength and thy speech, when vengeance lies within easy reach? Loyalty. Is thy loyalty anchored to the kingdom, even when it demands great personal sacrifice? Unconditional obedience. Art thou willing to bow thy head and obey, even when the command defies thy logic and thy emotion? The sovereign condition. Obedience without a claim. When the high heavens require a messenger to bear kingdom intelligence, be it prophecies, visions, or strategic spiritual guidance, he seeks those possessed of one sole attribute. They are souls who require no earthly attention, no accolades, and no temporal glory in order to obey the mandate. They are the quiet messengers, prepared to receive instruction in silence, execute the mission in the shadows, and willingly cede the public glory to those who merely follow the path they have already secured. For the intelligence of the kingdom is too sacred and too potent to risk contamination by the human craving for recognition. The message bearer must be a channel of perfect transparency, where heaven's will is exalted above the personal need for validation. If these clandestine trials have been the constant texture of thy days, receive thy confirmation through this declaration: thou art not alone. Thou art in the final phase of training for a level of clearance that only the most thoroughly purified souls may carry. Stand firm in thy appointed station. The high heavens have granted thy clearance. Hear now the decree concerning the ritual of purification, the seal of silent obedience. O ye courageous souls, who seek the infinite light, if thy mind hath ever questioned, if thy spirit hath cried out in doubt, demanding why the tests of obedience must always unfold in the deepest shadows, in cold and utter solitude, where no witness of the world is permitted to gaze, halt thy lament, and hearken to the thunder echoing from the ages past. This is not thy chastisement, this is the high rite of purification. It is the stern crucible through which thou must pass to receive the higher clearance, to enter into those strata of knowledge and dominion which the superficial shall never attain. Thou hast been forged in the furnace of isolation, that thou mayest be deemed worthy to bear the signet of wisdom. The vain value of renown. Obedience paraded before the public light, that which all eyes may behold and all tongues may praise, is but a cheap commodity. It is effortless, for it bears the shadow and the crown of instant recompense. When thou actest rightly before the multitude, the applause sounds as a war drum, and the stage light illuminates thy countenance. Thy reward is acclaim, status, and the comfort of worldly recognition. This is the compliance of the opportunist, who seeks only transaction, an exchange of action for notoriety. This is the loyalty of the bondsman, who obeys only when the whip or the bread is in sight. It requires no fundamental sacrifice of the self. This is the way of the weed, which flourishes quickly and withers just as fast. The depth of the obedience key. But silent obedience. Silent obedience. That which transpires in the crypt of the soul, where even the darkness dares not bear witness. This is when thou standest against the crudest aspects of thine own nature, devoid of audience, camera, or expectation of mortal praise. This alone is the true measure. This is the gauge that determines if thy spirit bears sufficient weight to keep the highest secrets, and sufficient purity to withstand the burden of divine authority. The obedience performed in anonymity is the universal key, the sealing ring that confirms thy fitness to enter the inner circle of truth. The invisible trials of destiny. Chosen one, search thy soul and take inventory of the invisible scars thou bearest. How often hast thou steadfastly clung to sacred principle, though the cost was the dissolution of a kingdom of renown, the ruin of a legacy built with great labor? Didst thou choose to stand upon the wreckage of thy reputation, only to keep whole thy vow of conscience? How often hast thou spurned the silken cloak of compromise, a garment which, merely by bowing to accept it, would have paved thy path with roses and scattered thy difficulties like morning mist, only to embrace the hair shirt of integrity, accepting the walk upon the bloody stones? How often hast thou bravely turned thy back upon glittering golden opportunities, upon luminous proposals that all the world rushed to seize like starved beasts, simply because a silent no resonated from the depths of thy spirit, a refusal inexplicable by logic or worldly advantage? The times thou didst fast while others feasted, the times thou keptest silence when a lie would have secured thy gain, the times thou cleansed a hidden corner that no mortal eye would ever traverse, the great manifestation. Mistake not those silent choices for chance occurrences, nor for acts of meaningless impulse. Nay, they were not isolated decisions. They were high-level clearance tests, cunningly designed by the unseen hand of destiny, and overseen by the sleepless eyes of the cosmos. Thou didst pass those utmost secret examinations without knowing that thou wert being judged. Each time thou choosest hardship in seclusion, each time thou didst steadfastly defend the truth in solitude, thou didst ignite a torch that proved thy worthiness. Understand this now. The solitude of virtue is thy passport into the palace of true kings, and silent obedience is the key that unlocks the treasury of supreme wisdom and power, reserved only for those warriors forged in the nameless flame. Go forth, for the gate is opened before thee, O victor in the silence, the tremors of the spirit, the mystery of supreme authority. There are sacred moments when the flow of time seems to freeze, and the spirit perceives a silent tremor in the atmosphere, a subtle shift, unnameable yet undeniable. It is not the changing of the wind or the light, but the very shifting of the spiritual realm. That is when you recognize the sudden heaviness, an invisible pressure that settles upon the room before any word is uttered by any lip. You are the one who senses the shattering of the mask of deception. You comprehend the fraudulent machination before the scheme is ever formed into a narrative. Then there are the nights when you awaken precisely at the third watch, 3 a.m., the hallowed hour when the veil between the realms is thinnest, with a trembling certainty that a great unfolding is imminent, that a decree is being issued, or that an urgent prayer has touched the very throne of grace. And afterward the thing comes to pass. The event manifests with unerring precision, the barometer of revelation. This is no random cosmic coincidence. Never. This is the sensitivity of sacred clearance, the privilege to know those things which remain inaccessible to common humanity. Engrave this truth. Heaven never squanders pure revelation. It never entrusts spiritual intelligence to lack souls. To those who have yet to master the law of silence and the rigor of inner discipline, the sensitivity you carry is not a careless gift. It is a solemn stewardship sealed by the fire of testing. When these perceptions suddenly descend upon you, when you receive the spiritual temperature of the times, be it chilling or warm, it signifies that the Creator has placed His absolute faith in your power of discernment. He trusts the soul's compass He has installed within you. You are permitted to perceive these mysteries because you have proven your fidelity through the trial of silence. You are deemed trustworthy because you will never convert pure revelation into idle gossip, nor into a fleeting rumor to satisfy the curiosity of the multitude. Your authority does not reside in hasty intervention, but in the position you choose to take. When chaos descends, when the true nature of darkness is exposed before your eyes, you will not bow down in panic. Instead of trembling before the coming storm, you shall bow low in petition. Instead of intervening chaotically by your own will, you shall stand in the breach, executing intercession, the bearer of the celestial mantle. This is why your recent emotions are no longer exclusively your own. They carry a different weight, a distinct frequency, an unmistakable vibration. You do not merely sense your own pain, your own joy, or your own fear. You are bearing the celestial mantle. You are the soulless barometer, calibrated to measure the spiritual temperature of the age, the one who senses the fall of a dark fortress or the genesis of a new covenant upon the earth. You perceive when something is deeply amiss, a profound dissonance in the moral cosmos, because you have become one of the spiritual sensors of God operating within this world. He employs you as His hearing, His scent, His sight to investigate that which the mortal ear and the common eye cannot perceive. The ordination of fidelity. This is precisely the spiritual mandate, an ordination that transcends all earthly titles. You have been tasked with a knowing, a vision that many others lack, an ability to gaze past the material shell and see the unseen threads woven into the invisible realm. You are the one sent ahead to warn, to prepare, and to establish the anchor of intercession. This perception is not a mark of inherent superiority, nor because you are wiser, cleverer, or more righteous than others. It is because you have walked through the furnace. You have embraced the solitude of discipline, and you have successfully navigated the most difficult test of all. You have been tested and verified as a trustworthy vessel. Take up this burden of glory. Utilize this power of discernment with reverence and ironclad discipline. This stewardship is the divine covenant between your soul and the architect of creation, and this is the naked truth concerning this so-called sensitivity. It is bone-wearying. It is terminal exhaustion. Your soul, no longer a mere body, has been transformed into a monumental receiving station, ceaselessly capturing every spiritual field operating within this universe. You perceive everything, not merely physical pain or the weight of daily stress, but the full, invisible wave of spiritual warfare unfolding in the higher realms. This is the burden of anguish from unreleased souls, the chaos of unformed thoughts, the low, grinding roar of the adversarial force attempting to seize every sacred inch. There have been moments in the profound darkness and utter solitude when you have fallen to your knees, pleading with the Creator, begging Him to retract, to lock away this capacity for painful sensing. You petitioned for a normal life, a quiet ignorance. But He could not. He could not, because you stand amid a supreme mission. You are not a passive observer. You are a first responder in the spiritual theater. That is the unavoidable gravity of top-secret clearance. When you receive this clearance, understanding no longer arrived through study or common experience. You suddenly knew things you had never learned. This insight is a gift both epic and utterly draining. A seemingly innocuous passage of Scripture suddenly flares a light like a navigational beacon, and in that instant, it completely explains the event that is tearing your life apart. You gaze upon a stranger, and without introduction, you instantly perceive the hidden, core wound, the hurt they conceal, and the specific thread of destiny binding them to their current circumstance. You step into a space, a complex situation, and you simply know precisely the words that must be uttered and the counsel that must be held in silence. This is not mystic power, nor lucky guesswork based on vague intuition. This is divine intelligence being transmitted directly through your spiritual access gate. It is the clear, resonant whisper of heaven declaring, "You are authorized to know this." This is decoded data for your deployment. More awe-inspiring still. The architect of creation will sometimes disclose to you things that those around you are not yet equipped to handle. Your sight has exceeded the common purview. You behold the massive potential of an individual long before they recognize it themselves. You sense the coming storm, the lurking danger, or a massive upheaval set to arrive within 6 months, even while the sky remains placid and clear. Crucially, you perceive the spiritual blueprint of an event, its structure, its foundation, and its divine intention, long before it begins to materialize in the natural world. The reason is that you are not operating on public information. You are working with classified downloads. Heaven is transmitting revelation directly into the depths of your soul because you have passed the trials and been granted the authority to receive it. Yet accompanying this majestic gift is a crushing responsibility. Knowledge is power, but the deployment of that power is a grueling trial. You cannot share everything you know. You cannot warn everyone you wish to warn. You cannot expose every truth you perceive, even when that truth is painful and as clear as high noon. For part of your clearance examination is learning divine discretion, learning how to know when to speak and when to maintain absolute silence. Premature revelation can damage, even abort, a divine plan in gestation. Speaking too soon, acting too quickly, may interfere with another soul's essential process of purification and growth. Sometimes, the pain and the darkness are requisite for a soul to reach true transformation. And this is the pinnacle of spiritual maturity. God is testing whether you can hold the information in silence without the desperate need to release it for recognition, for validation, or for instant relief from others. You must learn to carry the weight of classified knowing, recognizing that your silence is the protective key to heaven's grander design. This is the cost of becoming the divine frontliner. When the Lord elevates your level of access, He contracts your circle of fellowship. O bearer of the high calling, engrave this fundamental law of the kingdom upon your soul. When the Most High grants a decree for a new level of passage, He simultaneously establishes an immutable law. Your circle of fellowship must contract. This is not the caprice of destiny, but a divine covenant that must be executed. It is a harsh yet just exchange. The stronger the foundation, the more tightly sealed the perimeter of security must be. You shall perceive this not merely by intuition, but by manifest evidence in the mortal realm. There shall be unexpected severings, separations as silent as a dusk without farewell, and friendships that suddenly lose their vital stream. drying up like summer springs. The essential truth to grasp is this: those persons have not necessarily become wicked or malicious. Their nature may remain decent and kind. The issue lies here. Their access privileges have expired. They may have been magnificent figures, even pillars in your previous spiritual altitude, yet their current vibrational frequency is too low, unable to resonate with the new dimension you are entering. You cannot carry a high-level security clearance alongside casual, fluctuating relationships. A physical and spiritual disjunction occurs, where former associates no longer hold the cipher required to enter your space. You may love them wholeheartedly, cherishing the memories that have passed. Yet heaven has moved to restrict their access to your life, and the sole reason is your security. For when you carry high-level spiritual intelligence, when you hold the secrets of the kingdom and strategic counsel from the Lord, the greatest catastrophe is not ignorance, but data leakage. Mortal men speak, and the careless word, the casual gossip, the unnecessary suspicion. It is that misplaced hearing ear that becomes the wide-open portal for the enemy to step through and seize the treasure sealed within your spirit. For this cause, the Lord has been compelled to remove you from certain associations, from circles of idle chatter, and even from ministries or assemblies where you once served. This is not a heavy punishment, but an act of absolute strategic containment. He cannot abide a data breach sourced through any person who lacks divine approval and access to your high-level cipher. Your isolation is not a penalty, it is your encryption, just as the most precious jewel is stored in a deep vault beneath the earth. The Lord is separating you from elements of interference and from eyes that lack the necessary scope of vision. You have been selected for a higher trajectory, where absolute stillness is the prerequisite for receiving direct instruction from heaven. I know that this severance has brought deep pain. You have grieved, you have mourned relationships that the Lord Himself terminated. It is agony to realize that threads of fellowship believed eternal have been cut by a sovereign will. Yet, hear this: every soul that departed did so on assignment. They were never meant to accompany you to the destination toward which you are progressing. They fulfilled their purpose in a previous chapter. The Lord loves them enough to permit them comfort and stability at the level where they are content. But He loves you far more, enough to accept your isolation, to drive you into absolute solitude, until you are fully prepared. For to the place where you are called, you cannot bring everyone. The path to glory is always narrow. The higher the security clearance, the smaller the circle of relationship must be. This is the immutable law for those chosen to walk the high places. Accept this glorious solitude, for it is the hallmark of trust from the Most High. Hear this, O soul who bears the divine clearance. When you carry within your heart the burden of supreme authority, you cannot escape the rigorous refinement from which others are spared. Your margin of liberty has been curtailed, not because God seeks to diminish you, but because He protects the mandate placed upon your shoulders. The surveillance of the light of truth, a slight deception, dismissed as an oversight by the common man, shall settle upon you as a profound weight, crushing your spirit for many days. A careless utterance, seemingly innocuous, shall lodge as a sharpened arrow, piercing your very soul, leaving your spirit to bleed. You shall sense a sacred and searing conviction, precisely where others discern no movement whatsoever. This is because the surveillance system of heaven operates powerfully within the deep recesses of your soul. Every decision, every fleeting thought, every hidden motive in your core is illuminated under the searing light of divine glory. The purpose is not to render you paralyzed by fear, but to ensure that the hallowed passage you possess remains absolutely inviolate. When the world whispers, "This is not that serious," do not fret. The voice of the Spirit shall echo within your sanctuary. For you, it is profoundly serious. For the higher your clearance, the narrower your margin for compromise must become. Purity is not a peripheral choice. It is a vital condition of existence. The Most High does not seek to control you. He seeks to guard you from debasement. You have been entrusted with too much faith, too many resources. You are not permitted to live carelessly or without discipline. You have been consecrated for tasks too magnificent. You cannot afford to flirt with the shadows of transgression. The incompatibility of the anointing. The anointing resting upon your life is incompatible with any mixture. The grace you bear, the power you administer, cannot align itself with even the smallest measure of compromise. And yes, this makes your existence exponentially more demanding. You are not at liberty to engage in the acts of those around you. You cannot speak the words uttered by the multitude, for you are not anyone else. You carry the divine clearance, and this credential arrives with absolute prerequisites. Those prerequisites are unyielding holiness, unconditional obedience, and necessary separation. This separation is not born of arrogance, causing you to look down upon others, but rather separation to preserve purity, ensuring your perpetual access to the heavenly courts. You must stand as a consecrated vessel, set apart from the common utilities of the world, a channel kept clean so the living water may flow untainted, the escalation of the soul as battlefield. You have observed that the intensity of spiritual warfare increased dramatically the moment your clearance level was elevated. The attacks have grown more strategic, more insidious. The adversary has ceased using crude, obvious tactics, opting instead for subtle and intricate maneuvers. You have faced war in your mind, in your emotions, in your most intimate relationships, and even in your stewardship of finances. There were moments you falsely assumed you were being punished, that the Lord had abandoned you. But, O chosen one, you are not being punished. You are being promoted. The enemy never squanders high-level demonic forces against low-level adherents. If hell must dispatch its elite formidable hosts to besiege your life, it is undeniable proof that heaven has approved your mandate for great influence. The magnitude of the battle you face is always commensurate with the stature of the supreme mission entrusted to your care. The validation of persistence. And the simple truth that you still stand after all you have faced is the irrefutable evidence that your divine clearance is authentic. Weaker spirits would have long since capitulated. Less resilient souls chose compromise and retreated, but you remain, holding firm to the faith, laboring onward, enduring steadfastly. This is the confirmation from the throne of heaven. Every assault you have survived has added a new credential of power to your portfolio. Every pitfall you have avoided has attested to your wisdom and spiritual discernment. Every temptation you resisted confirms your absolute fidelity to the one who commissioned you. Hell has thrown its most lethal blows against you, and yet you stand erect. This is not shallow fortune. This is proven clearance. You have been shaped, refined, and specifically designed for this level of ferocious warfare, because you have been granted the sacred pass for the corresponding level of supreme authority. Embrace this glorious burden and walk in uncompromising holiness, for you have been purified and you have been called. The mission awaits. The mission awaits. The power delegated to you establishes the stature of a holy presence. O chosen one, even in silence, your presence carries an inexplicable weight. It is a burden that the world cannot easily rationalize, this reverence they afford you, yet deep within the core of their being, something has recognized that your soul bears absolute jurisdiction. This is the divine gravity. You have been anointed with a presence that speaks without uttering a word. When you step into a space, heaven registers your arrival, and when you pray, matters move swifter than normal, because you have been cleared for command access. This is not arrogance, this is authority, and they are worlds apart. Arrogance must announce itself, needing resonance to draw attention. Authority does not. Arrogance craves external validation. Authority carries its own intrinsic verification. When you enter a room with kingdom clearance, the dark forces recognize it before men can perceive it. The atmosphere shifts, not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because you carry the burden of heaven's approval. You may have noticed that chaos often settles at your appearance. Arguments cease, confusion dissipates, peace reigns. This is not happenstance or luck. You are a carrier of divine order. God has positioned you as a stabilizing force in unstable, rocking environments. Your silent presence is powerful enough to turn things around because you carry governing power in the spiritual realm. You need not speak much. You need not overact. Your delegated presence is sufficient. Frequency shift and governmental angels. This is why certain places that once appealed to you now cause discomfort. Environments that once delighted you now drain you. Conversations that once engaged you now bore you. Crowds that once energized you now exhaust you. It is not that you have become judgmental or prideful. It is that your spiritual frequency has fundamentally changed. You are operating on a different bandwidth, and lower frequencies create static interference in your soul. Heaven has appointed angels to attend you, angels who match the level of commission you bear. Not everyone has the same angelic guard. Some have guardian angels, but those commissioned by the kingdom have governmental angels, warring angels, those assigned not merely to protect you, but to enforce and maintain the authority you hold. These angels are activated by your obedience. They are empowered by worship and praise, and they are released into the battle by your spiritual declarations. When you pray, you are not simply speaking words into the void. You are issuing commands to which angels must respond. When you declare the scripture, you are not just quoting verses. You are activating spiritual law that the angels are tasked to enforce. This is the level on which you are now operating. Your words now carry weight in the unseen realm, because you have been authorized to legislate from heaven's perspective. The maturity of discretion and immediate obedience, the most subtle sign of true commission, lies here. When God trusts you with revelation or insight, you no longer rush to share it. You have learned that not everything you receive is permitted to be spoken. Some things must be stewarded in silent prayer. Previously, you spoke too soon, posted too quickly, or warned those who were unready to hear. And God corrected you, not because you were wrong, but because you were immature in handling information. Now, you have learned discretion and caution. You hold the visions in your heart until the Holy Spirit commands release. That is maturity. That is the behavior of the commissioned. You do not need to announce what heaven discloses. You simply act in alignment with it. This is how military commanders operate. They hold knowledge that could change the fate of nations, yet they never lose control of the tongue. If you have developed this restraint, it is a sure sign that your commission is active. You walk differently. You think before you speak. You pause before you post. You wait before you warn, because you have understood that timing is everything, and premature revelation can destroy what God is building. You carry secrets that, if released too early, cause harm, but if stewarded in prayer, produce a great harvest. That is the weight of commission. And above all, commission is proven by obedience, not loud obedience, but immediate obedience. When God says move, you move. When He says wait, you wait. You no longer wrestle with directives, because you have learned that delayed obedience is disobedience. If you have reached this point, congratulations. You have stepped into the level where heaven no longer needs to keep explaining itself to you. You have graduated from needing understanding to simply trusting the Commander-in-Chief absolutely. That is when you know your commission is real. When you obey, even when it is painful. When you execute divine directives with precision, not emotion. When your heart is so surrendered that you say, "Yes, Lord," before He finishes the sentence. The path of purification and crucifixion. Commission does not arrive overnight. It is not conferred by the hands of men. It is granted through divine testing. There were times you prayed for promotion, yet everything fell apart instead. You asked for clarity, yet God was silent. You sought open doors, and He let them slam shut in your face. But here is the truth. He was not denying you. He was purifying you. He put you through the spiritual training school. You were forged in brokenness, betrayal, and profound loneliness. You were forced to let go of people you loved, walk away from comfort, and rebuild from nothing. And through it all, something inside you refused to die. You learned to hear His voice when everyone else was gone. You learned obedience when it cost you everything. That is the commissioning process. It breaks your dependence on man and rebuilds absolute loyalty to God alone. There is a phrase in heaven that few understand. Commission comes through crucifixion. It means the death of personal ambition. It means surrendering the need to be seen. It means accepting divine delay because you trust divine wisdom. When you finally stopped begging God to open doors and started thanking Him for the ones He closed, that is when you graduated. Because the closed door was never rejection. It was a classified redirection. O chosen one, everything you lost was part of the training course. The people who left, the broken dreams, the fruitless seasons, these were God as security checks. He was verifying whether your heart could maintain purity while being processed. And because you did not quit, you passed the test. The high-level mission, the silent commander. You are now entering a new phase. You are not just a believer. You are an operator in the kingdom. Heaven will begin moving through you with absolute precision. When God gives someone kingdom commission, He trusts them with specific functions. See what your new mission looks like. 1. Intercede in real time. You will find yourself waking at unusual hours to pray for a specific person. You may not even know their situation, but heaven knows you are on duty. You are a spiritual response team dispatched to intercept spiritual threats before they hit the ground. 2. Govern atmospheres. Wherever you go, home, work, or community, you will feel led to change the atmosphere. You speak peace where there is chaos. You bring order where there is confusion. You are heaven's law enforcement on earth. Your presence is legislation. Your prayer is governance. Your declaration restructures the spiritual climate. 3. Carry prophetic downloads. Visions, insights, and dreams will become sharper because you have proven trustworthiness. Heaven will entrust you with intelligence that others cannot decode. Your role is not to boast, but to build. You help others align with divine timing. You call forth things that are not yet. That is the authority of the commission. You are not just predicting the future. You are partnering with heaven to create it. 4. Become a gatekeeper. God will position you near spiritual gates, nations, families, ministries, or systems, and your discernment will protect them. You will know when something dark tries to enter. Your spirit will ring the alarm before the threat becomes visible. You are the first line of defense in spiritual warfare. You are the silent commander. You do not need the crowd. You do not need validation. You operate in quiet authority because you know your orders come directly from the throne. O commissioned one, this is not about ego, but about mission. You have been entrusted because heaven needs you operating efficiently in a specific sphere. There are destinies tied to your obedience. There are breakthroughs waiting for your intervention. When the burden grows heavy, and it will, remember why you carry it. When the isolation becomes unbearable, and it will, remember who is preparing you. You are not just surviving, you are qualifying. You are not just enduring, you are being commissioned. And every trial you pass, every temptation you resist, adds weight to your eternal reward and depth to your present authority. The final call. I speak to those who are in the process of commission right now, those in the desert season of testing where everything seems meaningless. What you are experiencing is not wasted. Every tear is recorded. Every prayer is heard. You feel forgotten, but you are being molded. You feel invisible, but you are being verified for commission. Do not quit now. Do not compromise now. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough is upon you. The shift is now. The commission you prayed for has already been given. You are simply walking into the revelation of what heaven has already declared. The hidden seasons are transitioning into holy missions. Heaven knows your name. The angels know your rank. Hell knows your threat level. and it is time for the earth to witness what heaven has verified. You are listed among those who have operating clearance in higher dimensions of influence and vision. You are permitted to act with divine authority that others only read about in books. Do not shrink back anymore. Do not apologize for your discernment. Do not water down your wisdom. Do not dim your light just to make others comfortable. You were not merely given a gift. You were commissioned. And when God gives commission, no man, no demon, and no opposition can revoke it. You have passed the unseen tests. You have endured the private trials. And now you stand, a heaven-approved vessel, marked, authorized, and trusted. Walk boldly, O chosen one. Speak with authority. Act with confidence, not because of who you are, but because of the one who sent you. For the level you have stepped into is sacred, sealed, and stamped by the King of Kings himself. Your commission is activated, and your next chapter begins now. Together, we ascend toward the light,